This is weird, isn't it? Well, it is for me. Well, I spent some time preparing for what I wanted to talk about today. It's always fun when your pastor asks you to speak in the middle of a stewardship campaign, and I figured, we're not talking about money. What I wanted to talk about today was the stewardship of our heart and of our gifts. Everybody has something that God has blessed them with. Everybody has a talent and a gift and something that they're really, really good at. We have so many different people in our congregation with so many different backgrounds. Everybody brings something different to the table. Is there anything that you can think of that you're particularly good at? You can raise your hand. What are you good at?
I make a mean cupcake.
Bring it! Is anybody else good at anything? Because otherwise we're going to get really fat. Anybody? Everybody has their gifts. I can think of specific members in our congregation that are so gifted with organizing and caring for people. I can think of people who are really good just at being warm and welcoming and making everybody who walks through our doors feel like their family. That's strict. Everybody has a gift. We have people who are passionate about staying abreast on current events and issues in politics that matter to our congregation to help us get involved. We have people who take time out of their week to go and clean the Hope Center because they're really good at that and that's important to them. We have people like my husband who is the king of the nerds. And so he used those skills and those talents to help out the Hope Center. But everybody has something that they're bringing to the table. When I was growing up, I grew up in a very, very strict Baptist church. There's nothing at all like this. But when I was growing up, I would carry my Bible with me to church every week, and then on Sunday night too, and then on Wednesday night also, and then also to school and to chapel every day. And every time I heard something in a message that spoke to my heart, that was something that was really deeply meaningful to me, they gave me these blank pages in the back, and so I would just scribble a little note. And as I was preparing for this, speaking to you guys this morning, I was kind of flipping through my Bible looking for inspiration. And somewhere in the back of my Bible, I scribbled a little note that said, "You are the only Bible some people will ever read." And back when I was growing up, what that meant to me was that my skirt had to be this long, and my neckline couldn't be too low, and I had to carry my Bible, and I had to look like this perfect little Christian girl. And unfortunately for my own spiritual growth, what that meant as I went along that path was that it became really easy for me to make the outside look like a Christian, but not necessarily have that on the inside. And as I've grown and developed in my own faith journey, I've learned to be able to focus more on what's in my heart and what's on the inside. And so while I was reading this passage in 2 Corinthians, where Paul is writing, and he says, "You have a red letter written on your heart." To me, that just meant so much. All of us have a letter that is written on our hearts. All of us have something that God has given us to be passionate about, to bring to the table. So everybody has a talent and a gift. Paul goes on to talk about how we're able to do this. He says that our competence comes from God. I personally can't think of any higher authority or anybody who could give you more strength or give you more power or give you more passion to get those jobs done. He says specifically, our competence doesn't come from ourselves. Our competence comes from God. All of us have some skills that are perhaps a natural ability. We have some people in our congregation that are fantastic at getting up here and presenting a lesson or doing a skit or singing a song. Some of the things that we know how to do are things that we've learned throughout our lives. Like, my husband wasn't born being King of the Geeks. He actually had to work at that. But I married him. I get to pick on him as much as I want. He is leaving today. What do I care? All of us have things that we have either been born with and have an innate ability, or that we've developed and learned throughout our lives that we can bring to the table. You probably did not come out of the womb making cupcakes, but you learned how to do it.
I know.
You know. Me too. But you learned how to do it, and that's a talent that you've developed through the years. And that your cupcakes, you can do that as a ministry to Hope Church. So one of the things that Tim and I kind of danced around is possibly doing a bake sale. Let's do a bake sale, make some cupcakes. There are so many different ways that people can give to the church, maybe ways that you wouldn't even primarily think of. Like in the spring and summer months, we need somebody to cut the grass. We need somebody to dust the offices. We need people to scrub the toilets. We need people to work with our youth group and give their time to them. We need people to do all kinds of things. And just as the skit this morning with that cute little puppet told us, Timmons can't do it all. But that's why we're all here. One of the things that was really important for me to share was that as we're doing these different things as a community, no job is any bigger or more important than any other. The person who scrubs the toilet is just as important as the person who chaperones the youth group, or the person who stands up in front of you and gives the message on Lady Sunday because they're a huge sucko when their pastor asks them to do it. Nobody is more important than anybody else. And as I was reflecting on that idea, I thought back to in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where Paul is also talking to the church at Corinth in his first letter, and he's explaining that we're all the body of Christ, and the body has many parts. And he gives the example, the hand can't operate without the foot. And it kind of reminds me of when I was a little kid, like, the head bone's connected to the neck bone. But as the body of Christ, all of us bring a part to the body and make it one, and that's how it works. We need to think of ourselves as a fine Swiss timepiece. Every cog and wheel needs to be in place, doing its part, because that's how we're going to do our work together in our community for our mission, which is to reach our community with the power of hope. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was to remember why we're bringing these gifts. It's not to get applause. It's not to get praise. It's not to look like we're the smartest or the best baker, or best cleaner, or best whatever we're doing. We're doing it as our act of worship. Worship isn't just on a Sunday morning when we're standing up and we're singing a song. Our worship can carry on all week long, every day of our lives. And that's pure worship. That's what we are called to do. That's what we're commanded to do. And according to 2 Corinthians, that's what we are all equipped to do and we are competent to do. So as we leave this place and go on through our week, what I wanted to challenge all of us, including myself, to think about was, what other ways can we continue to give? What other ways can we continue to bring something to the table for our community to make this a better place? And I believe now we will be celebrating coming to the table for our communion. Thank you very much.